it seems to come easily to see what other people are doing wrong, to see how people are treating us, or mistakes that other people make. But when we observe these things and we become aware of these things, how does it impact us in a way that we can actually grow our own self-awareness? In today's video, I want to explain how the observations of what others are doing in our life can actually be used constructively to develop solid self-awareness in our life about others, but also about ourselves. Hi friends, glad to be back today. And today I want to talk about self-awareness, but in an interesting route. And what I mean by that is that we can be very aware of what other people are doing. And sometimes the things that other people do to us can upset us, can anger us, and can even piss us off. But how does that help us with our own self-awareness? I want to give a few examples in today's video that we can actually look at and then actually turn that around and become more self-aware of the things that we do in our day-to-day life. Okay, let's start with the first example. I know that this has happened to probably the majority of us. I know it's happened to me. And the first one is they don't include you or they don't invite you to something. And we've all been there before where someone doesn't invite us to a birthday or an event or a dinner that we feel like we should be invited to given the connection that we have with that person, the friendship we have, that sort of thing. And so not being included just does not seem right. And we've all been there, and it's hard to express that. Most of the time, I feel like I just kind of let it flow by. I get upset about it. I might get a little angry about it. I might have a little resentment, but I don't really call someone out on it. Just because, honestly, there's two sides of it. Maybe they really just forgot, or maybe I really just don't need to be there. But one of the most interesting things that I garnished from this was actually more self-awareness. And let me explain this, is that when I didn't get invited to something, I started fixating on not getting invited. These people didn't invite me. They don't think about me. They don't care about me. That tells you where our friendship is. And I started going down that rabbit hole, right? And I think we've all gone down that rabbit hole. But all of a sudden, in a moment, I realized, wait a second. And I stepped back, and it kind of hit me. And I thought, what have I done lately, events or dinners, where I didn't include other people? And I started thinking about an event that I had about a month before and how I did not include some people. And I actually felt pretty bad about it. And I thought at that moment, okay, I have not included people in the past. I have not invited people, sometimes just overlooking it, general overlook, not trying to do it. It just happened, but it still happened. And so that brought more self-awareness to me in that moment because I realized, okay, I might be judging what someone else has done to me, but when have I done something similar? A second example, and I think that this probably impacts many of us, is they don't call me, or they don't respond back to my texts, or they take forever to respond back to my texts. And I know that that has happened to me several times. And when it happens, it's like, why haven't they called me back? Do they have no respect for the fact that I called them? I left a voicemail. They can't even call me back. Or I texted them. It's been hours. I still don't have an answer. What's going on? Or you never get a text back and you think, did they get it? Did they see my message? Are they avoiding my message? And again, going down that rabbit hole of the reasons why someone doesn't respond. Now, I advocate going straight to the source. If you have a call that you made and there's a message that you need to be listened to, reach out, try to call again, try to message again, let them know that this is important. If you have texted, text again. Are you receiving my text messages? I mean, we do need answers to these questions, but let's flip the script on the self-awareness piece, right? So I need you to think about it. Now, it doesn't have to be the same exact thing. It's not a tit for a tat in the self-awareness situation. It can be something similar. Was there a call that you missed? Was there a call that you needed to make? Is there a text that you need to go back and look for? Have you gone back through your text messaging conversations? And are you aware that you actually responded back to everybody that's reached out to you? That's one thing that's been a little challenging for me sometimes, is that there's many text messages and it's hard to get to all of them, and you think you did, and then about a week later you realize you missed these text messages. And I feel really rotten about it. I don't like leaving somebody hanging, and I'll let them know. I'll normally pick up the phone and confirm with them that I didn't know about the message. But what I found, and I know this sounds wild, is that if I'm having this experience over here, I'm usually giving it out to someone somewhere in my life to some degree. And so I've realized that sometimes when we finally graduate over certain things and we start doing certain things really, really successfully, and we really have some of those healthy outlets in our life, those things that used to bother us seem to go away because we're not getting it and we're not giving it. So this is something that's very interesting to think about. A third example is that friend that asks you too many questions, constantly asking you questions, barrages of questions where you feel overwhelmed answering them. And this is very interesting. One, the other side of the coin is if they didn't ask you questions, they might not be interested at all. Two, the questions could actually be like they actually are interested in your life and actually caring about who you are. Three, they could just be kind of curious, right? Or four, that's just their way of doing things. Now, I'm not talking about narcissists in this video today. I'm really talking about self-awareness. So if you're dealing with someone that has narcissistic or displays narcissistic tendencies and behavior, and they use things against you as far as questions that they ask you, they use your answers against you, remember, we got to use that gray rocking technique. And we're going to go on and put the link to one of the last gray rocking videos right now in this video so that you can have that, because that's a totally different story. You don't want to answer questions of someone that's going to use your answers against you. Okay, so that's not what I'm advocating in this video. I'm talking about the person that genuinely cares, asking the questions, that's not using them against you, just kind of curious, interested, like Curious George. Now, that can be very irritating sometimes, and you can feel almost on the spot. But I want you to think about it. Flip the script to the self-awareness piece. Is there anybody in your life that you ask a lot of questions of? And if you ask a lot of questions of, why do you? Is it because you're actually genuinely curious? I mean, think about it. If you're asking questions, usually it's happening on both sides, right? I'm getting it and I'm giving it, right? So it's like, what are we doing? And then if we're doing it because we're curious, or we're doing it because we just simply want to know, whatever, think about it from that perspective. And that'll also give you another self-awareness piece as to why you are asking the questions. See, because it could be generally carrying on the conversation. Maybe you feel like you have to. Maybe you're genuinely interested. Maybe that's just your way of doing things, is you ask lots of questions. And so again, we're trying to learn more about ourselves in the situation, right? There might be things that other people are doing, but we want to use that to turn the focus back on us, not in a narcissistic way, but to turn the focus back on us to learn about us. And the last example that I want to bring up in today's video is they might act like they don't care, or they seem to not generally care about you because based on their actions or non-actions. And again, I want you to see that and see it clearly. And if you do feel that way and you feel that somebody doesn't care or is not showing that they care, somehow or not begin to open the line of conversation if you feel like it's necessary. That's important. But I want us to flip the script again too and look from a self-awareness piece. Is there things that we could be doing that we're not doing to show others that we care? Whether it's family members or friends or even people you work with. And this is very important because I think sometimes we get kind of stuck in a little bubble that we have because all this stuff's going on in our life. There's so many responsibilities. The news is not stopping. It seems like things are happening every second of every day. And so the self-awareness piece is so important. And this is a really great way of examining it, because when we see other people doing things, it kind of can set us off. But instead of going down that rabbit hole, let's stop. Let's start shifting gears, because otherwise we get sucked into the emotion, we get sucked into the anger and resentment, we start feeling less valued, we feel lesser than, we feel taken advantage of, all these negative feelings, right? We have that anger, that resentment. And so instead of going down that road of emotion and thought, what if we could actually stop ourselves in that moment and say, okay, is there anything in my life that I'm doing that is similar to this situation to someone else? And it's really helped me to not only stop going down that path that's not beneficial to me, it's also helped me to really be aware of some of the things that I'm not aware that I'm doing. And that has really changed not only every one of my relationships, right? Because I really think about it and I analyze, what am I doing? Am I asking the right questions? Am I asking questions? Do I show that I care? Do I reach out enough? Because maybe if people aren't reaching out to us, are we reaching out enough too? Sometimes we need to make the effort. And I just want to reinstate this real quick. You know, this video is not intended to be dealing with if you're dealing with somebody with narcissistic tendencies or traits, or someone that manipulates you or gaslights you. That's not what the intention of this video is. This is when you're just dealing with people that actually, you know, you have good interactions with, you have healthy interactions with to some degree. There might be some situations that are taking place that are glaring or upsetting, but looking and turning this inward to understand, is there a part that we're playing in the situation, in that particular situation? And if not, okay, or is there a part that we're playing in another situation that has the similarities? And this is supposed to help us to be aware so that we can grow and start making those augmentations and changes in our own life. I hope that this is an interesting way of gathering more self-awareness. I know that it's very powerful. The more self-aware we are, the more powerful and successful we become, and what we consider wisdom. Wisdom is based on self-awareness. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, because that tells us that we're doing something right, and we definitely would love you as a subscriber. You can also join the channel as well and have membership opportunities that are available with certain types of videos and all kinds of stuff that's available as well. Please give us a like on this video if you've connected with the subject matter, if it's helped you in any way, and share it with others as well. In the comment section below, let me know, can you use this tactic? And if you have used this tactic, what did you experience? What did you find? Because I found that it really does bring self-awareness, because I realized that we all have blind spots. And it's just like driving in a car. There's blind spots, right? So we all have our personal blind spots. We can see other people's blind spots a lot better than ourselves. And I think that this really takes that out, and we begin to X out those blind spots by being more self-aware. Don't forget to live your true life.